Welcome to the Each One, Reach One podcast, built on the belief that change begins with just one. We celebrate purpose, resilience, and the ripple that one life can create.
Hello, my name is Ray, and I'm the host of Each One, Reach One podcast. Today we have an amazing guest. And, if I try and introduce him with all he's achieved and all the sacrifices he's made, I don't think I'll do justice. So I have the pleasure and honor of interviewing Jim Cooper. Welcome to the Each One Reach One podcast. Jim, tell us who you are and what you do.
My name's Jim Cooper. As you said, I'm a full-time missionary here in Kitale, Kenya. I have been here for 18 years. I work with Seeds Ministry. We have a children's home, a high school, and a primary school as well. My main focus right now is discipleship and preaching and teaching.
Wow, beautiful. Now, Jimmy, it's interesting because you're not from Kenya. Like, what led you to make this decision to move miles away from home and be in Kenya today?
I got a Bible degree with an emphasis in missions in university. And part of my coursework took me to Ghana, West Africa. And I loved the African people. I loved working in Ghana, but I didn't feel called to go back to Ghana. And so I went back to the States and I started working at Walgreens. And I just started praying to God that he'd open the right door. And he did. And the funny thing was that I started going to a mission meeting once a month. And God brought many people to the mission meeting that had been to Kenya. The sister to the pastor that I work with now actually went to the university that I started college at and had my dad as a professor, and she went to the mission meeting. And the pastor's brother came to Conway also, and I met with him. And so I just kind of felt led to come to Kitale. And so yeah, I got in contact with Pastor Richard McConney, who's the pastor here in Kitale, and we spoke a few times over email. He asked me what I was coming to do.
Yeah.
And I said I was coming to serve.
Wow.
And he said, okay. And I committed to a year. And after 6 months, I knew this was God's plan for my life. And 18 years later, I'm still here.
I know, Jimmy, you're such a humble person and a servant, but I've had the opportunity to interview different kids and, uh, you know, every child, like every boy, especially, even other girls, like they say, the one person who has really changed my life is Jimmy. Jimmy was the first person to give me a Bible, and it's really just really amazing to see you being used by God in that regard. Now, you have been a just one to these kids. Some of these kids, they made their decision to follow Jesus because of you, and of course the Holy Spirit leading and all that. But so tell us, in your life, have you ever had a just one? Who was that person who, impacted your life, and then just your life pretty much changed the trajectory, So who is that one person for you?
I think I could name several probably, but the one that really comes to mind when it comes to my life and the direction that I ended up taking would have to be the college pastor that when I started at the University of Central Arkansas, and his name was Noble Bowman. He was the director of Chi Alpha, It's a Christian ministry on many college campuses. And when I started at UCA, I was as a freshman. I had just moved to Conway, Arkansas from Texas. I didn't know anyone. I was really praying for God to open doors and to show me good Christian friends, a good church, or a good ministry to get involved with. And it was amazing that when my parents and I moved to Conway, we moved into the house 2 doors down from the Chi Alpha house.
Wow.
So he just kind of opened the door for me to move right into that ministry
Wow.
that Noble was the leader of.
Oh, wow. It's amazing how God just, brings people together. Can you tell us how was life before you first met this person? Were you in a place where you are contemplating about mission work and then this person came and it was just the right fit? Can you give us like the before you met this person?
The funny thing was, I would never have imagined that I would have been on the mission field. In high school, was when I began to really grow in my relationship with Christ. I went to a Christian high school in Texas, and that's when I really began to grow. I began to see God working in my life, but I'd never imagined I'd be a missionary. I remember joking around with my friends because one of my best friends thought his parents were missionaries in Africa growing up, and he thought he'd be a missionary one day. And we joked around at one point saying, "Don't accept God's call because He might call you to missions."
Yeah.
But then I was really growing and walking in the Lord, but I didn't know what I wanted to do. I moved up to Conway. I started college at UCA with no real aspirations for my future. I was going to college, but I wasn't. After, and I'll get more into this story, but after 2 years in college, I had a 1.7 GPA. I was in classes, but I really wasn't. So, before I met Noble, I really didn't know what I wanted to do in my life. I was growing in my walk with God, but I didn't know where He was leading me.
Jimmy, what is something that this just one, said to you that has stayed with you?
You know, one of the things He really impressed on me was to truly trust God. With missions, you have to give everything over to God. You have to fully trust Him. If I'm a full-time volunteer, so I have to raise all my money. And so, Noble imparted on me. I went on 2 different mission trips as a college student with Noble and Chi Alpha Ministries. And as a college student, I didn't have a job. And so I didn't have much money. And he said, if you're following God's will, if God wants you to go on these mission trips, He's going to provide. Trust Him, and He's going to provide the money.
Yeah.
He's going to provide what you need for you to do what He wants you to do.
Yeah.
And that really impacted my life because we do have to trust Him. We have to believe that whatever God calls us to do, whatever He wants in our life, He's going to help us, whether that's financially whether that's given us the ability to do it. In the 18 years I've been here, I say God stretched me in a major way.
Yeah.
I've done everything from run a chicken business to preach sermons. I had never preached a sermon in my life
Yeah.
before I got here.
Yeah.
But God's given me the ability to do it.
Yeah.
So that's what Noble imparted on me, to trust him
Yeah.
to give me the ability to do things.
I love how you say that, like, he'll provide. There's this famous quote people say sometimes, like, if it's his will, he'll pay the bill.
Very true.
Yeah. So I'm glad, like, just hearing that from you. And so, okay, now moving to Kenya now, like I mentioned earlier, you have been just one to, so many young people have gone through your programs and all that. What are some of the programs that you have, initiated at Seeds in terms of helping these young people grow into their purpose and what God's purpose in their life?
Like I said earlier, my main focus right now has been discipleship. I've started several leadership classes and discipleship classes. Several years ago, I started a leadership class, my first leadership class, and I took the example of Jesus. I took 12 high schoolers, and I discipled them for a year long. And after a year, I set them in charge of groups of 3. I put them in groups of 2, like Jesus put them in his disciples in groups, so that they could disciple others. So that's one of my main focuses. But also another area that I'm trying to impress on these kids is kind of what my dad's doing with Each One Reach One, is we've given to these kids. And many years ago, we decided to help to start teaching these kids that it was time for them to start giving back. And so I started to teach them that it wasn't enough to just receive, but it was time for them to start giving back. So I began to give them opportunities to serve others. We've taken them up Mount Elgon to work at a school. We've given them opportunities to go to other children's homes to serve to other needy children. We've taken them into the slums of Kitale to give out food and to pray for the needy. So those are some of the programs that I've started to help change their lives. And of course, preaching the gospel to them and helping direct them to the Lord as well.
That is so good. We are going to break just for 5 seconds, maybe 10 seconds. And I just want to share this small clip of one of the students who talks about some of the impact that Jimmy has had on his life. So enjoy it.
I met Jimmy about 10 years ago. And since I met him, I've come to learn a lot. First, as I can say, he has been a mentor to me, and he has been like a father to me, because in most occasions, when I feel low, he used to be among the first people to recognize or to detect that I'm not okay, and he will take his time of the day and we find a place and sit with him. We could chat around, and he used to encourage me a lot. And apart from that also, he used to take me to school at some point when I joined primary, then till to high school. He used to visit me frequently at school, and that made me feel that I was loved and it's propelled me to do more and to be good to others and to be concerned as he was concerned to me. He also motivated me by telling me that what I have has more success than what I may have to look for, and that is majorly using my talent well. He supported me widely. I do play basketball, and whichever time I called him at school when we have games, he used to come and see me watch me play, and I enjoyed his time. He encourages me more, and above all, he encourages me most through the word. He also gave me a present that I really like and love, and every moment I see into it, I get motivated. He gave me a Bible, he gave me a notebook, he gave me a study guide book, and he really wanted me to be a great person in future, God-fearing man. And as he's away now, any moment I read the Bible, I just recall of the moments we had together. He used to teach me. We had a session of I and him alone. We sat under a tree or in a room, and he takes me through the Bible. He teaches me a lot of things about God and the good virtues and value of life, so that we may be great in the future. I really loved him.
I hope you enjoyed that video, because Each One Rich One podcast is all about, these stories where one person impacts the other one and the other one impacts the other one. And before we know it, the ripple effect is of a great magnitude. So, Jimmy, tell us, I know you mentioned a little bit about, you are teaching the young people, like, I know they've been on the receiving end. Now, even them too, they can give, So why do you feel like with these young people, especially young people from poor background, why there's that mentality in Kenya? Because even me growing up in Kenya, it's always been a part of me just knowing I enjoy receiving, right? But it has never been default for me just to be like also a giver, It's like I'm always looking to somebody, to get from, but not for me to give. Why do you think in your experience?
I think it's hard for these children to think about not just receiving, but giving, because they come from a background that they have nothing. Many of these kids come from the slum. They come from an area that's called Kipsongo, and in many of the languages, it means place the hopeless. They're taught from their culture to beg, to receive, to get from people. And they're really not taught to give back. So, it's almost against their mindset. We got to change their thinking. We got to change almost their culture to think that they can give. I think back when we were first working on taking them up Mount Elgon. They said, how can we give when we have nothing? These were kids at the children's home. They just said, we don't have money to give. And I said, but you have opportunities. You have things you can do. And they said, what do you mean? And I said, how can you raise money? And they said, They said, can we wash your car? And I said, yes.
Yeah.
They washed my car 7 times in a week. And I gave them a little bit of money each time because I knew they were trying to raise money to build something, to build a classroom on Mount Elgon. We had a team coming. They said, can we make chapati to sell to the team? I provided some flour and things that they needed, and then they paid me back through the money they made. So, it's changing the mindset that yes, they might not have the money, but they can help. I think of a young man named Alfred and another girl who was at this school who actually wasn't from the children's zone. She came from the slum, but she also wanted to help. And they didn't have money, but they got poster board that was at the school, and they made signs. They made posters that the school, Mount Elgon, could put up. So even though they had no money, they made things that could help the school. So it's just changing the mindset that you might not have anything financially, but you can give back.
Yeah.
Um,
I love that. Like Jimmy, like as you're saying that, it just reminds me on the Each One Reach One curriculum, how we talk about, as long as you have your eyes, your hands, your legs, you can use your legs to go and help a needy person, or your eyes and ears to be sensitive to the needs of people around you, and that's the
Mhm.
beautiful thing about the curriculum. It just really teaches these young people to be able to be aware, to be sensitive to the needs of others. And I really love about that, You wanted to add something, Jimmy?
Yeah, I remember the first time we went up Mount Elgon, you know, we drove up to the school and we had 6 of our high schoolers with us in the Land Cruiser. And one of the young ladies was like, this school's like where we lived. This school's like the school that we came from. It was very poor, very run down. And she was like, we need to help. We need to do something. Before I even said anything, we were riding in the Land Cruiser back, and they started coming up with ideas without me even saying anything. And it was they were really touched, and without me even saying anything, without me bringing it up,
Wow.
like you said, they used their eyes, their hands, touching the kids. I remember Sylvia. She had just been given a bracelet by a team member that we had the week before. And there was a young girl, dirty, ratted clothes, up there that went to this school. And I have a picture that Sylvia was bent down hugging her. And she took the bracelet off her wrist that she had just been given and put it on the girl's wrist.
Wow. And when they get these gifts, the bracelets, they value it so much, especially kids in Africa. So for her, a gift that she's been given, which she treasures so much, to be able to give to another kid, that speaks a lot, right?
Oh, very much so.
Yeah.
Yeah, they love anything given by team members from the States. They love.
Wow. And Jimmy, just lastly, we're having this curriculum, the Each One Reach One, why do you feel like this curriculum that your dad, Dr. Mark Hooper, created, why it's important for young people, especially in Africa, especially in Kenya? Why do you think it's important?
The curriculum can really change their lives. It goes to their heart. These kids want to change. What I've learned through the years is they really want to make a difference. they want to learn. They want to see this curriculum. Um, they they have a heart to serve. They actually, when you give them the opportunity to go out and to another children's home, when you give them the opportunity to go serve, they do it with all their heart. Like in lesson 8 is saying yes to God's call. They say yes with all their heart. And they show love with easily to others in need.
Wow. Yeah, that's so good. Yeah. Jimmy, I don't know if there's anything else, maybe an encouragement to anybody. Jimmy, this one you can look to the camera straight there. Anybody out there who, you know how sometimes we try and make impact in other people's lives, but we are waiting for this special moment. Is there an encouragement you can tell such people who are still doubting, like they can make an impact on somebody's life? If you can just look at the camera and then just encourage them as we finish.
You can be that one person to another. You don't know who you're touching right now. There's someone in your life that's looking up to you. Whether you're young, whether you're old, it doesn't matter. You can touch another person's life. Whether it's with an encouraging word, whether it's giving a Bible verse, whether it's saying a prayer for them, or just listening. That can be special. That can change a person's life. Be there. Be the eyes, the hands, the feet of Jesus to that person.
Good. That's so good. There you had it from Gene Cooper, missionary in Kenya. I just want to encourage you guys to, share this video if it's inspired you. Subscribe to our channels to see more videos that are coming. And thank you so much for tuning in. God bless you guys.
Thank you for tuning in to the Each One Reach One podcast. Go into your day knowing that your life, your words, your action can spark purpose, bring hope, and inspire change. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube to hear more stories.